Hello, come on in. Hi, I'm Faye Bridgwater and I'm an artist, but you probably know me better as Dottie and Fred's mum. And you probably see me at school sometimes looking a bit of a mess. But this is because I paint and this is my studio. So I thought I'd just talk you around what an artist studio can look like. So first of all, we have an easel, and an easel is something that holds onto the canvas when you are painting, and you can have it either up high or down low depending on if you want to stand or sit. Next is, I must apologise, my studio is a bit of a mess, but like all good studios, artists, that's the way it goes. Creative mess. But this is a drawing board, and on here you can either put pieces of paper and draw on it. I sometimes put smaller canvases on there and work. With canvases you can either have canvases which are on board and they are quite thin. You can also have canvases that are a bit thicker. And then lastly you can have really fat, nice, chunky canvases, which you've got here on the easel. Sometimes I've got to get one out, but sometimes I paint on wood as well. Let's see if I can get one off the bookcase. And these are lovely. So this is a wooden board that I sometimes paint on. You can really sand into these and make lots of lovely textures. Let's find somewhere for that. Right. So, for painting, you use lots of different things. First of all is a painter's palette. And this one I have had for years. And quite often, a nice satisfying thing to do is to peel the old paint off and start again. And I don't know if you can see, but this palette is actually made of glass. With the palette, it means you can put your paint on here and mix the colour in before you put it on the canvas. So it's a really handy tool. I mean, you don't have to have a proper palette like this. I often use, let's see if I can find one. Here we go. I often just use a plate. An old plate, if your mum and dad have got. Don't use ones that you're going to eat off of. Also, different paints. I often paint in acrylic. This is water-based. And it doesn't smell. You also have oil-based paint, and that's oil paint, but that's quite smelly and you have to use quite a lot of chemicals to paint with, so I tend not to use that. And also, which is rather lovely, watercolours, and this is a little watercolour set. As you can see, I don't know if you can see there, but my favourite colours are blue and green, and I've nearly run out of some of those and they're quite expensive, so I'm going to have to buy some more of those. For putting the paint onto a canvas or the wood or anything, you can use different things, and I'm sure you all know about brushes, but also you can use knives to scrape the paint on, palette knives, and they're lovely to use, and you get some lovely long lines with those. But also I use all sorts of different things. Feathers, they give you such a lovely line, and I also love scratching in. You can see on this canvas here, this isn't finished, this canvas, but you can scratch the paint away, and that's a lovely tool to do that with. I also use lots of weird things, so sometimes I go beachcombing. I'm sure lots of you go down to the beach, and I found this plastic fork, and I love making lines with that. That is one of my favourite tools. This is a roller, and I roll the paint on and off with that. And I've got lots of different things, so if you want to ever ask, I am very, very happy to talk to you about what I use to paint with. So I'd like to set you a little task to do today, or sometime this week. At the moment I am doing studies of Brighton really, and I paint the cliffs a lot, and I paint things that would remind you of being here in Brighton. And what I'm doing is, can the camera come over here? This is a painting that I've recently finished and sold, and it's just a hint of Brighton. It's not obviously Brighton straight away. You really have to look. And how I painted this, these are squares that I drew, and then I've put watercolour on, and then I've used carbon paper, and I do that through, I look at photographs, and for instance here is the bandstand, here is the wind farm, and there's the pavilion. I don't know if you can see that, yeah. And so I'd like you to draw something that you might like. It could be football, it could be cars, it could be just something really excites you. So it could be space, or you're doing flight at the moment, so you could do a study of birds. So all you need to do is get a pencil, get a piece of paper. It doesn't need to be a nice piece of paper like this, it could be any old A4, and you can either use a ruler. Am I going to use? No, I'm not going to use a ruler. I'm just going to draw some squares. They're going to be quite quick, and I think we're going to do 9 squares. And I'd like you to do me a painting of something that makes you, there's something you actually want to paint, not that I'm telling you. So somebody might like to do flowers, somebody else might like to do cars. What would you like to paint, Fred? Scale-electrics. Fred loves scale-electrics. So let's do some of that. So if I'm thinking about scale-electrics, I'm thinking about the track going fast, and then I'm thinking about a car zooming along, and then I'm thinking he's got a loop-the-loop in it. And then I might think of the trigger. But you can take your time over these, or you can do them really quickly. I think it's got a wire coming out. So then what you do is then watercolour it up. But if you haven't got watercolour, that doesn't matter. You could use anything. I saw the other day someone painting with soy sauce. So you could even use that. So I'd love to see what you're doing. And yeah, hope you've enjoyed the tour of my studio. Take care. Bye-bye.